Well, what are you doing on Sunday the 14th of February? What you should be doing is going down what was the Majestic Ballroom along Caversham Road there. I have two guests in the studio. I have John Boman and also Steve Eagles. And John is responsible for that evening's entertainment, and Steve is actually appearing. Steve, John, welcome.
Thank you.
John, tell us all about it.
Well, the original idea came out of the Reading Chronicle retro column, where they look back at the 60s, and the article seemed to have picked up on Reading bands of the 60s, the Trends, the Raiders, and they'd send in their photos. Well, the band members used to write to this column and say, wouldn't it be nice if they got back together? And then the most obvious place seemed to be the old Majestic. We all in Reading had memories of the Majestic from the 60s, trying to stand up on a Saturday night or playing there as the bands did.
Now, if I can just qualify here, just in case anybody's not quite sure, it's now Club RG1, isn't it?
It's now Club RG1, run by Northern Leisure, and they've been really helpful with us organising this, very, very helpful.
Right, if I could just come to Steve now. Steve, you're better known really as having your own sharpshooting show.
That's correct, yeah.
On this evening, are we going to hear you sing?
Yes, I should also sing for a short while just to create a gap between a couple of bands that we've got on. And later in the evening, we'll be doing the shooting act as well.
What about the horse? Because I think last time we met, you were actually riding a horse into the venue. Will you be doing that this time?
No, not this time. I've got enough fertiliser on the roses, so I don't need to bring a horse into the gig. But it's going to be a fantastic night. I've been really looking forward to getting involved with this because it's a great charity event, and I think a lot of people in the Reading area should support this.
If I can just come on to now, I know you said you'd be singing a few songs, but some of the other people on there, we have Wee Willie Harris, a very, very famous name, but not one that we've heard lately.
No, I guess if your viewers can remember back to the days of the 6-5 special and Ready, Steady, Go, then they will remember Wee Willie Harris. But Willie, along with acts like Lonnie Donegan, are still going today in cabaret venues around the world, in fact. Willie was fortunate a few months ago, he was touring with the Everly Brothers abroad. And now he's back in this country, and I gave him a call and told him about John's show. And he was very excited about it and said, yes, he'd love to come. We've got him appearing with the Rapiers.
Tell me something about Rapiers.
Rapiers are a modern band of today, but they do the sounds of the Shadows and that type of music from the 60s, 50s and 60s through. And they're a top-flight act. We were with them back in a couple of years ago in Epsom with the Comets, Bill Haley's old band,
yeah.
And they were the support act there, and they also backed Charlie Gracie, so they've got a good pedigree behind them.
If I can come back to you now, John, there's two bands that are on the bill that I haven't really heard of before, but they are local, and that is the King Bees and the Unbelievables.
Yep, well, the Unbelievables, a group of lads from the Wallingford area, play very much hits of the 60s. Fairly well known locally, around Oxfordshire, around Reading. And the King Bees mainly was formed by young Greg Allen and his friend Spencer, who'd been playing together as kids. Spencer's father plays in the band. They got a drummer and they put a set together specially for this because they wanted to appear, because they wanted to help.
So especially for this evening?
Yeah.
Which brings us to Ron Smiley. I must admit, Ron Smiley isn't somebody...
Steve
Well, he's another old friend of mine from way back. Ron does a comedy vocal act in the business now, and he used to be a session musician and worked on a lot of the early radio programs with Pete Murray and people like that. And I also rang Ron because I thought he would be good for this type of venue and this gig, and he accepted as well. It'll be a good night.
It should be a very, very good evening.
He's a very accomplished performer. He does a memory act whereby he will go around a whole room and people just fire songs at him and he will immediately sing those songs. He's an incredible guy.
So I'd be interested to see if anybody can catch him out.
I reckon.
Now, tickets, availability of tickets. John, where can people get them?
If you leave my phone number at the end, they're welcome to ring and I'll post them. They're available from Cougar Music down the Oxford Road, Hickey's in Friar Street in Reading, and Asdeck the Wallpaper Shop in Woodley Precinct.
And we haven't said how much.
They're £6 each, and they're selling fast. There aren't many left at this point.
So they're going very well then.
Very, very well.
Encouraging, isn't it?
How many people are you expecting?
800 is the maximum, and that's the fire regulations for the club.
And also, being St Valentine's Day, it's the ideal time, isn't
Drag
it?
the old missus
Sunday the
out
14th
instead of
February.
sitting in front of the television all night.
That's right. What time does it start?
Starts at 8, and I suggest people are there promptly because the first band goes on at 8, so they're welcome to come in a bit earlier.
So it's actually going to be, I mean, sometimes you get things like this, and you say go along at 8, and nothing starts until about 10 o'clock. But there's a real full evening's entertainment from 8 o'clock right on.
To go.
Crammed full, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
So they need to be there.
From the moment the doors open and we get to that 8 o'clock period, then the show starts. The King Bees are on first.
Just before we finish, just very, very quickly, obviously this is going to be quite successful from what you say. Any thoughts for the future of doing another one, whether it be for the Flying Eagle Appeal or just for the people of Reading and the Thames Valley?
Well, it seems to be going that way because I know RG1 would like to put something on
RG1
3 or 4
think
times
it's a good
year.
idea
Yeah.
as
That's
a
why
regular
they've come
thing.
behind us. We've had a lot of help from a lot of people, and even the Prime Minister. And we get a mention from him.
Can't be bad
Even
then.
Tony Blair's going to send a bottle of whiskey to be raffled.
Signed.
Right, there we
By his
are.
own fair hand.
Excellent. John, Steve, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So there we are. If you want to win a bottle from Tony Blair and to get tickets, it's 0118 969 1036. And it's Sunday, the 14th of February. So your chance to have a really good night out at one of the local venues. Bye-bye.